Imagine thousands of people in a forest, all singing together and joining together for a common love, praying, preaching, and worshiping. Now open your eyes.
Imagine a concert, or maybe a huge convention full of inspirational speakers and musicians. Maybe even a fair or festivals.
Now imagine this all happening about 200 years ago, because it did happen. They were called revival camps.
In the late 1700s to the early 1800s, America had its very own surge of religious fervor. It's called the Second Great Awakening.
The Second Great Awakening was America's gateway back to religion. For about 100 years before the Awakening, Americans had striven for their own success and economic interest. They also lived too far apart from each other to have a central church. So how was the Second Great Awakening such a success?
They had revival camps to help spread the news of God like a wildfire across America. They gave Americans a chance to socialize with their neighbors, while also developing a new love for Christ and the ability to start a new moral code.
The camps ranged from a small group of people with a few preachers to over 20,000 people, all gathered together listening to different denominations preach throughout the campsite.
Preachers would travel from camp to camp, sharing their views to as many people as they could, not only telling people to repent and run away from their sinful ways, but that there is hope in Jesus Christ if they follow Him.
One of the most evangelical preachers during the Second Great Awakening was Charles Finney. He preached throughout the revival camps and taught that you could choose salvation. He said that anyone could be saved, not just the elite. Finney also believed that women had equal rights in the church.
He allowed women to pray aloud in church, even when men were present. He also allowed women to take part in other church services. This gave women a new sense of empowerment, which led to the development of new opinions of the current moral code of the U.S.
So, women left the ironing board to lead America into new reform movements.
These movements included abolition, temperance, women's rights, and educational reform, as well as a new way to worship and have a relationship with God.
The revival camps were a way for people to socialize with their neighbors while also getting to know God. They had pulled away from religion during the Enlightenment period, and the Second Great Awakening pulled them back.
With more people following Christian ways, reform movements came into effect. This affected the social ways of America because they were targeting alcoholics and slaves. Rum and slaves were a big part of American society at this time.
These revival camps not only brought more people to the Presbyterian, Baptist, and Methodist denominations, but it also inspired the creation of 3 new religions.
These new religions were Seventh-day Adventist, Mormonism, and Jehovah's Witness.
Revival camps helped show God's love, which in turn changed the views of many Christians. This made a long-lasting impact on America for generations to come.